So I did it. I finished playing Security Breach, and I gotta say, I did not have the best time playing it. And I will explain why. You know, you guys are probably already hovering over the dislike button. Maybe you guys even pressed it. You know, you're losing your minds here. How could you hate such a good game? But please, let me explain my experience with this buggy, very underwhelming free roam FNAF game. The first one, to be exact. The first mainline game to be free roam. So getting straight into it, one of the main problems that I had, the big issue that I had with the gameplay itself, was the fact that it's basically just, you go here, you get something, you go there, you get that thing, and then you go back, you get that thing. Basically all it is just a walking simulator. You go from one place to another, you go from one security place to another, and keep upgrading your badge. And that will be fine. That would be fine if it weren't for the fact that some areas just felt underutilized. You couldn't access every place in the mall, which is kind of underwhelming, you know? I feel like there should have been more accessibility in the game than what has been shown. And for Roxanne's racetrack, I think it's called Roxy's racetrack, but I call her Roxanne because I'm not really that close to her. I gotta be a bit more formal. Anyway, but with Roxy's place, right? Sorry, Roxanne. There was so much opportunity there where you can do some cool stuff, like, you know, you can ride the track itself, or you can, you know, do certain things. But you couldn't really do any of that. You end up getting into a cutscene where Gregory runs over Roxy and takes her eyes out, and I guess that's fine. But it would have been cool if we actually had to do something to, you know, get her right. And this is another problem that I had with the game. Most of the fights, most of the decommissioning of the animatronics just didn't really feel nice. They weren't that cool. I mean, I guess the Monty's shoot the ball into the bucket and, you know, you get to dump it all on him and you break his legs, right? I guess that's kind of fine, that was okay. But it wasn't really much of a threat. Monty kept jumping up for some reason when he's like right in front of my face. It just didn't really feel like a very fun, you know, fight. It didn't really feel like a fight anyway. Most of these, like, you know, boss fights that you see, the decommissioning is just you know, either shooting something into the place, or you have to find the head and place it there, and it's just, I don't know, they could have done much better with the accessibility of the place as well as decommissioning animatronics. I just feel like they missed out on all of that. And then getting towards the ending that I got was the Vanny ending. I tried to do the William Afton ending, but unfortunately I didn't have the party pass to get into Bonnie Bowl to get Monty's mystery box so I can decommission Chica. So that was, you know, that was out of my hand, and I had to get the Vanny ending. And I'm disappointed. Once again, this is my first time playing Security Breach. I had no clue what to expect in this game. But when you get the ending, you don't really see much. You get a bunch of panels, comic panels, and that is your ending. I'm sorry, what? We don't even get like an animated ending or anything. It's not even 2D animated. It's not even like, you know, some 3D graphic shit. For some reason, they give us like these like comic strips, and that is our ending with very minimal voice acting as well. The one thing I remember from my ending was Freddy saying, "You are my rockstar, Gregory," and then some music playing behind it. Like, what the fuck? I feel like they could have put much more effort into the ending. That is like the most important part of most of these games. The ending. You have to focus a lot on how well written your ending is. So the fact that I got this very underwhelming ending where it's just, you know, fucking panels is crazy. And now getting into the meat and potatoes of the real reason why I didn't really like this game, which is just the abundant amount of glitches that I've seen throughout my playthrough. There were a lot of times where I died to straight up bullshit. I remember that Music Man thing. The first time I tried to leave the bathroom, I couldn't leave because I kept getting fucking slimed out because of a glitch where the Music Man can get me through the bathroom door. Like, what the fuck was that? I had to go through the other side and I had to wait a bit, I had to time it, and I had to leave. I guess that's fine. Something else. This is intentional. It's not really a bug. This is an intentional game design. But the fact that once you get caught by one of the security bots, an animatronic would spawn right behind you is kind of crazy to me. Yes, you have a head start at some point, or sometimes, but you accidentally do run into them some like at some points, and I feel like that's kind of like a very lousy design. Like if the animatronics spawned a certain distance away, right? If they were too far away for them to, you know, catch up to you, right? If they had to like spawn in somewhere, they had to spawn like an even longer distance away instead of just being right next to you, right? I feel like that is better. And also the tracking was sometimes insane. I remember there were times where I tried to lose Chica and she just kept following me even though I was behind cover and she shouldn't really be able to see me. I'm pretty sure that's a glitch, but I feel like they could have worked on that. There were a lot of bugs in this game, but I'm going to talk about another intentional thing that happened as well, which is the fact that he cannot save after 6 a.m. Luckily, I haven't died in the end game. I didn't die once. I was playing it very safe. I was playing it, you know, like a fucking pro. I'm like, you know, one of the best security breach players of all time. I didn't die doing the end game stuff, and it's like, you know, it's not even that hard, really. But the fact that he can't save after 6 a.m. is just very odd to me, because for me, for example, right, I had to go through a mini game to get the Phaser Blaster, and I tried to do the Bonnie thing where I can get the Monty mix, and then I had to go get the Vanny ending, and you know, there was a lot that I had to do there. So if I lost progress there, it would be detrimental, because there's just gonna be like a lot that I have to go through again. So I just really feel like it was a very random, intentional game design for them to make it so they can't save after 6 a.m. I know it's supposed to be something like, you know, high stakes. Oh, you can't save after 6 a.m. You better watch out. But in reality, it kind of feels like a very, like, you know, useless, not useless, but pointless, you know, mechanic that just makes it harder for no reason. Oh my god, I forgot about the biggest issue that I had with this game. The worst puzzle in any horror game, any game known to man. This is genuinely such a shit puzzle. I cannot fathom how, like, what kind of drugs the fucking creator of this puzzle has been on. Probably everything known to man. The mazer size puzzle. Sorry, I had to cut away there because I was at a loss of words. But I can't even emphasize how bad this puzzle was. Like, the fact that there were so many layers to it, and the amount of trial and error that you need to go through to actually get this done just is really weird. I want to know who's this, like, you know, insane fucking Einstein genius that was able to go through this entire puzzle without searching up the solution to it. Because I tried, right? I was able to kind of, like, you know, put together how this puzzle works. But even then, it is just so hard to keep track of what, like, where exactly you want the pieces of the maze to be, so I can get to the vent. And at some points, I actually was able to get to the vent, but then, you know, a piece of the maze would block it off, and I had to go through all that again so I can change things around. And I just got to the point where I had to search up the actual solution to the puzzle. And I don't like searching up solutions to puzzles. I know there's a very hot take. I don't like searching up solutions to puzzles because that is just a cheat, and it's very cheesy, and it shows that you're not very good at problem solving. It's just not what I like to do. But I had to do it. I was forced for mazer size. I highly doubt anyone else legitimately did that puzzle without having to search up, like, at the very least, the fundamentals of how it works. Because, first of all, there is no reset button. If you do end up fucking up the puzzle, you're gonna have to die and reset, and hopefully you didn't save, you know, while you mess around with the puzzle a bit. But you had to die so you can reset the entire puzzle, right? So that's something. And then something else is the fact that, again, the trial and error, the amount of things that you need to keep track of so you can solve this puzzle, it feels like such a badly designed puzzle. I don't know why they did this. A lot of the puzzles in the game felt kind of mundane and lackluster, but this has been genuinely the worst puzzle I have ever seen in any horror game that I've ever played in my life. I cannot emphasize how much I despise this puzzle and how long it took me to actually give in and search up the solution to it. Now, I do want to get at least one positive out the way for Security Breach, because I don't want to be this like a very negative view of this game, because I do feel like there was intention, there was ambition behind this project, and I like that they kind of strayed away a bit from the formula. Well, a bit is kind of understating how much it strayed away, but it tried to stray away from the usual, office fixed location formula of FNAF, and it went for a free roam. And I guess maybe that works for some people, but me personally, I feel like the very core mechanic of FNAF, the fact that he had to be in an office and look after animatronics, the cryptid messages instead of the very congested, the very bloated lore that they give you in game. I feel like that was what made FNAF, FNAF. That's what made the game so beloved. And the fact that now it's just like a story thing, is good. Once again, it's a pretty good thing. But it did so much, like a lot of things different from the first games. And I love the ambition, but it just unfortunately didn't work from the game mechanics, from the bugs, to some parts of the story. Even Vanessa, like Vanny, the whole Vanny thing, they didn't really elaborate much on that up until the very end, which is just unfortunate. I feel like they could have at least, given us more Vanny closer to the beginning, or maybe the second act or something. But really, that's all I have to talk about this game. I'm going to be continuing my marathon, of course. I'm going to be playing Ruins later today. And, I'll be playing Help Wanted 2, and then Into the Pit, Secret of the Mimic, and then finishing off with 50-20 mode, and hopefully with that we can get the crown, be the new king of FNAF. And yeah, that's about it.